Hello, everyone. Nathan and Alan, we are your Heel Brothers and the North Carolina Tar Heels, who are now your 2025 ACC champions, are now your number 5 overall seed in the NCAA tournament as we are finally on the road to Omaha. Alan, this has been a great 24 hours. North Carolina wins an ACC championship and a national championship in the last 24 hours. But today, the news of North Carolina, we knew it was Selection Monday. Everybody trying to figure out who's going to be where, who's going to be in the regionals, how's it going to go. It ended up having some controversy. As I mentioned, North Carolina is the number 5 seed in this NCAA tournament. The top 5 rounded out with Vanderbilt, Auburn, Texas. Who was the other one? Oh, bless. I can't remember. But North Carolina did not make the top 4. And Arkansas, that's who it was, Arkansas. And North Carolina gets left out. An ACC team that had won as many games as they did, won the ACC championship, gets jumped. Quick thoughts on that.
Trash.
Okay, there it is. That's it. That's all you got?
That's all there is to say. They've won the series against FSU. They've won 8 straight series coming into the tournament. Come in,
FSU
get
being ranked
Boston,
number 2 at the time.
get Boston College, dispatch them, come into the FSU game, go blow for blow with, quote unquote, one of the best teams in the country in the ACC semifinals, then go to the finals against Clemson and just absolutely dog walk them.
And not only that, the weekend before, taking that very same Florida State team on the road and just destroying them.
They won 2 of the 3. So
yeah, except for on the Sunday game. Yeah. And then, dog walked Clemson in the ACC championship. Kind of surprising, to say the least. But to let you know how the coaches poll ended up being, what the coaches think, in the USA Today coaches poll, North Carolina is the number 1 seed. They're ranked number 1. Texas, LSU, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas round out the rest of the top 5. So that's just a little bit of a thought. North Carolina gets the 5th seed, still get to host the regional, of course, but the SEC favor and the SEC love and the bias is a little way too strong. Just way too strong on this one. But nevertheless, North Carolina is going to be hosting a regional this coming week and kicking off this Friday at noon as North Carolina will take on Holy Cross. So let's take a look at this regional really quickly and let's break this thing down. The number 1 seed being the North Carolina Tar Heels, followed by the number 2 seed Oklahoma, and followed by Nebraska, and then Holy Cross. Alan, what did you think of the bid that Carolina got in the regional?
I don't know a lot about Oklahoma, so honestly, I don't know a lot about Nebraska or Holy Cross at this current time either. So,
which is always the fun of the NCAA,
there's
the
no
tournament here.
Like last year, there's no North Carolina didn't get snubbed by having to have LSU as the number 2 team.
Right. That was fun.
Quite possibly, one of those fringe top 8 seeds, and you catch them in your regional. And of course, North Carolina's lucky enough to win that regional. I'm not sure how good Oklahoma is. It's an SEC team, of course, but it's not one of those ones that you've heard of that's been pretty outstanding this year.
Right.
Then you're always going to have that. You're always going to have that mid-major team, and it's honestly not one of the higher named mid-major teams. When you think about it.
Right.
So it kind of looks like North Carolina got a decent draw, I would think.
Mm-hmm. So Oklahoma currently right now, as they come into the regional in Chapel Hill, they are 35-20 overall, 14-16 in the SEC. Their schedule played teams like Lehigh, UT Arlington, played Minnesota, Oregon State, and they did win. And Oregon State, that's a neutral site game. And Round Rock, Texas, that was very early season. Played teams like Cal State Northridge, Texas Southern, Sam Houston, La Tech, South Carolina won the series against South Carolina. The LSU series, they did play LSU, Vanderbilt, and Texas in the LSU series. They got swept. The Vanderbilt series, they won 2 out of 3. That was at Dale Mitchell Park, which I think Dale Mitchell Park. I believe that's their home stadium there. They played Oklahoma State, and they did win that game 11-1. This is back in April. The Vanderbilt series is back in mid-April, April 11th to 13th is when they played that weekend series. They won 9-4, 14-0, and lost 13-2. If you want,
they got swept by LSU.
LSU lost 2-0, 10-2, and 3-2 against them. They lost 9-1 to Dallas Baptist, which I believe Dallas Baptist weren't they in and out of the top 25 a lot this year? I do believe
They tend to have a pretty good program.
So Oklahoma definitely looks like a team that has shown to be pretty tough at times. They're facing some of those people in the top 4 seed area, and shown some fight against them. They've been blown out, but they did show some fight. So Oklahoma
they're currently
is
ranked 26th.
There
They're
you
the 26th ranked team in the country.
Nice. So I mean, that's made a pretty decent team. Made it all the way down to the championship game against Vanderbilt in the SEC tournament as well. So Carolina's going to have their hands full, given that they get past Holy Cross. And let's quickly look at Nebraska as well. Another team went 32-27 overall this year, 15-15 in the Big Ten, which the Big Ten hasn't been all too grand, I guess you could say, in baseball this year. Oregon, though, I think you were just mentioning kind of off air that whoever wins out of this regional will go and face that Oregon regional as well over there. So Nebraska, quick, just skimming through their schedule, some of their highlight games. They did beat Vanderbilt the second game of the season 6-4. That was in Phoenix, Arizona. Faced LSU, lost 11-6. Lost a series to Washington 2 out of 3. Got swept by UCLA. Lost 2 out of 3 to Southern Cal. Won 2 out of 3 in Nebraska against Oregon State. That was in March, late March. Creighton, they lost. Rutgers, they won 2 out of 3. Maryland, 2 out of 3. Michigan, 2 out of 3. Minnesota, 2 out of 3. Did beat in the Big Ten tournament. They did win. They won the Big Ten, actually. They faced Michigan State, won 5-4. Faced Oregon, 7-3. Won that game. Penn State won 6-3, and then 5-0 against UCLA to win and secure the Big Ten championship. So you got a Big Ten, you got a Power 4 level champion headed into Chapel Hill to face off against Oklahoma. So they too are kind of getting hot at the right time. So that's going to be a team to definitely keep an eye on. Big Ten champion showing up. But North Carolina's got to get through Holy Cross first before we can even think about a Oklahoma or a Nebraska. And Holy Cross, go ahead.
I mean, we saw what LIU almost did to North Carolina last year.
Yeah, it took a walk-off game winner from Vance to send that.
No, that was the walk-off grand slam from Gallagher.
Oh, that is right there. There you go. That I got the wrong guy because everybody had too many. There was too many walk-offs last year to keep them all straight. In the
Vance had one against West Virginia, I believe.
Yeah, that's it. Boy, I missed that guy. But hey, Holy Cross comes in 31-25 in the regular season. Was 17-8 in the Patriot League. They faced Auburn to start the series or start the year in Auburn. They lost 2 out of 3, won 4-2 in the second game. Faced teams like George Washington. They lost 2 out of 3 there. Townsend. There you go. They swept that series. VMI. They played VMI 4 times straight. Okay. But they split that series with VMI. Matthew's game got canceled. They faced Navy, won back-to-back games there. Played 4 games against Army. They split the series there. Navy, Lehigh, which we know a little bit about Lehigh. We faced them. Was it this year, or am I thinking last year? I think we faced them this year. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Not off the top.
Yeah, and it does look like I do believe that they won the Patriot League this year. It does. Yes. They beat Army.
Yeah.
They beat Army to get in, and
that 4 seed usually a lower seeded conference winner, like a lower division conference winner.
Yeah, so North Carolina has got a team in Holy Cross that, I mean, you can never discount teams like this just because baseball is baseball on the crack of the bat. You never know what could happen. But
Friday, North Carolina will get the best pitcher that Holy Cross has.
yes, absolutely. And I mean,
Luckily
they don't
for
really.
us,
I mean, they've only faced one Power Four all year, and that was Auburn at the very beginning of the season. They opened up with them, and they didn't play another one ever since. They did play the Navies and the Armies of the world, but that's about the closest you're going to get to playing the Power Four. But yeah, so Carolina's going to have their hands full. I think it's a pretty cool bracket here. Nice little regional.
Teams you don't typically get to see.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about it. You don't get to see North Carolina against teams like a Holy Cross or an Oklahoma or a Nebraska potentially every year. So, what are your expectations going in to this thing,
man? Well, this is probably the hardest championship to win in college sports, in my opinion. Between that and golf is hard to win. North Carolina was ranked in the top 5 nationally in golf and lost in the regional round. So they didn't even make the championship rounds in golf. But yeah, baseball's right up there with one of the hardest sports to win a national title for in college. I mean, because basically it's a regional, which it's a 3-game series,
right?
essentially. And then you win if you're lucky enough to win that one against either 1 or 2 team, maybe have to play all 3 teams. Who knows? Then the following weekend you got to win another series against a better opponent, but you play that opponent all 3 times. And then after that weekend, you go to Omaha, and you basically have you play a regional finale all over again. Then you get to the championship game, and it's best 2 out of 3 again.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it's a lot of baseball. It's going to take a lot of pitching, a lot of good pitching, and you got to have good, timely hitting. North Carolina, when playing its best, as it has been here recently, I feel like has just as good as chance as a Texas or you name them, who's been at the top of the national rankings all season. They have just as good a chance as anybody.
Yeah.
But all it takes is one game to put you in the losers bracket, and when you get in the losers bracket, anything can happen.
That's right. That's right. And honestly, dude, I got to thinking about it. I'm sitting here on NCAA right now. They got a bracket for this thing. Why have we never done? We need to do a bracket challenge. It'd be kind of cool.
No, I don't think many people do, just because it's many teams.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the same amount of teams that
Yeah, but it's not double. It's double elimination. Everything's double elimination.
Well, let's take a look. So I mean, North Carolina, pretty cool. I think it's got a pretty cool bracket. I'm curious to see if you had to pick the bracket, just in the Chapel Hill regional. I'm not asking for the entire bracket, but just the regional for North Carolina in the Chapel Hill regional. Who you taking?
I feel like North Carolina has. I haven't seen the other brackets. I've been on the go all day, so I haven't seen the other brackets. But I mean, I like North Carolina's draw. I think North Carolina's got a pretty decent draw. Um, like I said, I don't know what the other top seeds brackets look like and who they got as the 2 seed, who they got as the 3 seed. Do you have a high powered underrated 4 seed?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Um, but I mean, taking it on face value, I don't mind North Carolina's draw. They dodged a big name number 2 seed. I mean,
yep,
Oklahoma's you could get a better 2 seed than Oklahoma.
absolutely, absolutely. And if I had to pick the bracket, I think North Carolina would probably take care of Holy Cross in, sweep them out, and then um, I got a feeling Nebraska might knock off Oklahoma, and it would be a game 3. Yeah, with
Yeah.
Nebraska. I could see that happening. That's my pick. I North Carolina gets out of the Chapel Hill regional, and they face whoever comes out of the Eugene regional. But I could definitely that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking North Carolina, Nebraska meet up, them Cornhuskers in North Carolina. But hey, let's quickly look at the other. Let's just kind of briefly go through them. Quick thoughts on the other regionals that we got. Also, Florida State and Clemson are hosting. Florida State will have number 1 seed Florida State with the number 2 seed Northeastern, with with Mississippi State being the 3, and Cook as the 4. So Florida State and Cook, and Northeastern and Mississippi State. Quick thoughts on that. Sounds a pretty good draw for them.
That's a very good draw for them, especially with
Yeah,
that high powered offense they have.
no joke.
And
And
pretty, I mean,
Clemson's got it's
yeah.
Clemson, West Virginia, Kentucky, and USC Upstate. Clemson, USC Upstate, and then West Virginia and Kentucky. Now that is a difficult one for Clemson. I feel like that one's a pretty tough one. We saw West Virginia what they were last year. They've been pretty decent again this year. Kentucky, another team that's been fairly decent from what I've saw, kind of looking at their schedule, and then USC Upstate. Tough luck for Clemson, man. They got to bounce back quick.
Yeah, I think
Outside
they'll
of
be all right.
they should
It's
get out.
yeah, it's not as easy as that Florida State regional.
No, no, definitely not. Other ACC teams in the tournament. Louisville's headed up to Nashville to the Vanderbilt one. They are the 2 seed. It looks like it's Vanderbilt, Louisville, ETSU, and Wright State up there.
Vanderbilt got a cakewalk.
Yeah, good luck to Louisville there. I don't think that's going to work out too well for them. Miami is headed to Hattiesburg for the Southern Miss
Yeah,
regional up there. Southern Miss, Alabama, and Miami will be facing off, and then Columbia as well. Let's take a look at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is going up to Oxford to the Ole Miss regional. Up there, it's Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, the ACC regular season champions who ran into a real team in Clemson and got taken care of. That Western Kentucky and also Murray State. Duke is headed to Athens against Georgia. Got Georgia, Duke, Oklahoma State. So Duke and Oklahoma State. That should be a good game.
that'll be a good game.
I'd be curious to see who wins that. And then also Binghamton. I've never even heard of a Binghamton before. Sorry if you're Binghamton fans or you know them very well. And also NC State. There they are. NC State, and we got Wake Forest as well. NC State is headed to Auburn. Auburn, NC State, Stetson. So NC State and Stetson. And then is that Central Connecticut? I think the Central Connecticut up there. I think I'm saying that correctly. I could be wrong. Seacon. So there
I
you
think
go.
Auburn will have their hands full with NC State. That's a pretty good ball club.
Yeah, and then they get the winner of another one. I'm actually very curious to see how it goes. But Conway down there with the Chanticleers, Coastal. Coastal, Florida, ECU, and Fairfield. Florida and ECU will be facing off, and then it'll be Coastal and Fairfield to see who gets there. That one is a very interesting one to me, and I wouldn't mind seeing that one.
Coastal did not get any favors there.
No, they did not. They're a good ball club, but that's a tough one. Also, Knoxville is the only other ACC team, which would be Wake Forest. They're headed to Knoxville. And Tennessee, Wake Forest, Cincinnati, and Miami, Ohio. Those are all the ACC teams and where they're going to be playing starting this Friday. I think it's going to be a good series, man. A whole good road to Omaha. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, Friday.
I don't know.
Friday will be a fun day. Friday and Saturday will be a fun day.
Yeah. How do you feel about North Carolina being the number 1 seed, hosting, playing at noon? How do you feel about that? I saw a lot of people having mixed emotions.
I don't mind that. No.
Okay.
You get noon, you go handle your business at noon, relax, do some scouting on the team before, come out probably tomorrow, the next evening, and then
hopefully put them to bed.
Game.
Yeah. I saw some people having some mixed thoughts about that. They're like, why did we get noon? We're the number 1 and we're the host. And to me, it doesn't make no difference. Just go play your ball games. And I mean, obviously, if you're playing like evening and then noon the next day, then maybe I'd be like, but I don't really care. I think they'll be fine either way. But
I don't have no issues with that one.
Who do you think? Okay, so there's always like an unsung hero that pops up in these things.
Mm-hmm.
In the Holy Cross series, who's the unsung hero for North Carolina? Because we're both agreeing that we think North Carolina should handle Holy Cross and move on.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think there should be an unsung hero against Holy Cross. North Carolina should come out and just handle their business,
Mm-hmm. My money is always on number 1, Madeira. He's always that guy that just seems to get that right hit at the right time.
Vanderbilt had some big hits for us in the ACC championship. The game tying double against BC. He hit the one where the kid interfered with it against the Florida State. He drove in a couple runs against Clemson. Had the home run against Clemson. So yeah, man, Vanderbilt's just been that guy during the ACC tournament, and hope he needs to continue. I do agree, Madeira needs to have to have some timely hits, and the bottom of the lineup, that 8-9, if you can get that 9-hole hitter to either get on base by any means and flip that lineup back to the top to get to Kane Kepley and with a man or two on base, that's always huge.
Mm-hmm.
You still got Gavin Gallagher. He's been fairly quiet. He hasn't done a lot. Then you got you got a lot of power in Stevenson and Stokely's bats. Tyson Bass can hit him a mile. And then you don't know who Carter French. He had some big hits in the ACC tournament. Black. What's his first name? Had the home run that tied the game against Florida State in Game 3. He come in. So I mean,
names are hard. Names are hard at times.
I can't remember his name. Jesus, Black. I don't know.
Oh my God, his name's. I can see his face. I can see his blessed face. Oh man, it's funny stuff. Some stuff just happens on air, man. I look for like a Madeira to be a guy that could potentially be like one of those guys that makes that timely hit, maybe stop. Who knows? Just that base steal that you might need, or that just kind of progresses your chances of winning. I think he does a great job. I always like that kid. He seems like he puts stuff, he hits the ball at the right spot at the right time when you need it, especially if I think last year back to West Virginia, there were times in the ACC championship game against Clemson, he was doing the same thing. So I look forward to that. But I think North Carolina's got a fun road ahead. Sawyer Black.
Sawyer Black.
There you go. That's it. Dude, I'm telling you, it's okay, man. It happens. But sure enough, I think North Carolina's got a pretty cool road ahead of them. I was kind of taking a glance at the regional that could be ahead of them. You don't want to look too far ahead, but it's Oregon, Arizona, Cal Poly, and Utah Valley. That would be who they would face if
that should come down between Oregon and Arizona.
Yeah, and they are the 1 and 2 in that bracket as well. So that should be fun. But hey, we got to handle Holy Cross and then Oklahoma or Nebraska before we can even think about that. But any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No. Well, not to say no, but I'll have something to say. If you like baseball, if you like college baseball, this weekend's starting on Friday is one of the best weekends in the year for whoever enjoys the game of college baseball. There's games from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till daggum near midnight. I mean, it's 12 hours of baseball. Where you can find it wherever you click a sports channel to. So enjoy this weekend of baseball. Cheer for the Hills real hard. If you was lucky enough to get your ticket request honored because you have a bunch of points in the Rams club, then go pull for the Tar Heels and not sell them to SeatGeek just because you want the money. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go cheer on the Heels, and I'll cheer them on from the couch because my points for the Rams club just aren't high enough, and I don't buy season tickets because I live 3 hours away.
Oodalally. That's it. That's how we do.
Oodalally.
Anyway, hey, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to head over to our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter. Be sure to hit the follow button, all those things. If you're brand new here and you like college baseball and you love North Carolina baseball, if you're excited to see what North Carolina is going to do, I want you to hit that like button. Put down in the comments, who do you think is going to win the regional? How many games? What's it going to be like? And give us your breakdown of the Chapel Hill Regional down below. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always, go Heels.
Go Heels.